Anoka Hennepin Credit Union is pleased to present Purchasing a Car. In this module, students will learn information on various topics related to purchasing or leasing a car that include why managing a budget is so important, understanding the impact of their credit score and the overall car buying experience. This session will cover car buying and should benefit anyone interested in buying a car, whether a first-time buyer or previous car buyer. The module will explain tips on being prepared for the car buying experience, explain what needs to be done before buying a car, discuss financing options, and identify things to avoid when buying a car. Purchasing a car. Buying a car, whether it's a first-time purchase or not, can seem like a daunting task. You've probably seen your share of car commercials on TV and recall hearing phrases like down payment and APR. Although some of the terminology may seem confusing, once you break it down, buying a car is pretty straightforward. There is certainly a lot of information you need to understand before you run off to your local dealership. But once you know what the acronyms mean and how car financing works, you'll be ready to get the best possible price on the car you've chosen. Remember that buying a used car from a dealership is similar to buying a new car from a dealership. You want to be armed with all of the relevant information before you buy any car, new or used. Automobile wants versus needs. Some of you already have cars. No doubt it will not be your last vehicle. So keep this info packed away for your next purchase and start getting your finances in order now. Ask participants to write down the 5 characteristics of the next vehicle they are looking to purchase, i.e. it has to be red or it has to be reliable, less than 100,000 miles on it, good gas mileage, a 4x4, etc. Now look at your list. How many of these are wants and how many are needs, which are actually necessary to make this vehicle work for you? Cross out the wants on your list. What needs are left on your list? When you start thinking about a car, make a list of what you need. Sometimes this list might be as easy as, should it be a used car or a new car? Should it have room for 4 people? Is it practical for your family? Does it get good gas mileage? Is it reliable? Does it have automatic or manual transmission? Does it have GPS? Remember to focus on the needs, not the wants. New or used. You must decide before you begin your automobile research is whether you want a new car or a used car. There are benefits and drawbacks on both sides. If you decide to buy a used car, there are several things you need to keep in mind. The most important thing about buying a used car is that you know everything about the history of the car, including the number of previous owners, if the car has ever been involved in an accident, any previous mechanical problems, and the maintenance history of the car. The benefit to buying a used car is that you can often get a great deal, and in many cases, the car you buy may even be relatively new. Successful used car buyers often are just as happy as their used car or new car buyers are with a new vehicle. When you have a good idea of what you want, the car that best fits your need and budget, you can begin to research on used cars. Finding a used car. There are several places to locate and buy a used car. A used car dealership. Many new car dealerships also sell used cars. Used car websites like Autotrader.com or ConsumerGuide.com. Online and print classifieds. There are 4 tasks that will increase the odds of success. Have a mechanic put the car up on a lift for a full inspection and to check for damage. Anything that might include a previous accident or possible flood damage. Run a vehicle history report to get a full history of the car. You can get a vehicle history report at Carfax.com. Never sign an as-in statement. Many used car dealers will mix that in with the other paperwork you'll be asked to sign. As with anything that requires a signature, read it before you sign it. You should have at least 30 days to make sure the car is in good condition. Have your own financing approvals ready before you go buy the car. Buy the book. If you're in the market for a used car, you might want to check out one of the following guides. These handbooks will provide you with valuable pricing information. NADA Official Used Car Guide, the Kelley Blue Book Used Car Guide, Consumer Reports Used Car Buying Guide, and Edmunds.com Used Cars and Trucks Buyer's Guide. Remember, these are guides and should be used as such. The listing prices are usually for cars that are in good condition with reasonable mileage, about 12,000 miles per year. If a car has a much higher mileage or is in poor condition, the sale price should be lower than what's listed in the guide. New car buying and the internet. Whether you're buying a new or used, the internet is a good tool for your car quest. If you are buying a new car, you can research the kind of car you want, the options you need, the price of the car, and the price of additional options. You can usually find local dealers and request quotes or see manufacturer's suggested retail price. Once you've narrowed your choices, you can check out an array of other websites for more pricing information. Sites like AutoTrader, Car.com, Cars Direct, ConsumerGuide.com, Invoice Dealers. Make sure you go to more than one pricing site to get the best idea of the average price. Car financing and the internet. In addition to using the internet to research the car you want to buy, you can also use it to figure out your finance options. Sites like eLoan and LendingTree offer online auto loans. Save for your down payment. The more you have saved, the less you will need to borrow. That means less money you will need to pay in interest towards that car. Because cars depreciate over time, if you didn't make much of a down payment, a couple years down the road you could owe more than your car is worth, making it very difficult to trade it or sell it. Paying more upfront will also, obviously, make for smaller, more manageable payments each month. Trying to figure out a way to buy a car that is outside your price range is really not a good idea. After all, it's not much fun to have a car if you can't afford to go places in it. What can you afford? First and foremost, you need to examine your budget. You should set a reasonable price range for the car and begin to eliminate cars that are out of that price range. You need to be realistic. Don't fantasize about a $25,000 car when your budget will just barely support a $12,000 price tag. Your financial institution can give you an idea of how much you will qualify to borrow, but that doesn't mean you should go out and spend that. Your financial institution might not be taking into consideration your $150 cell phone bill or the $50 per month you are paying your parents to pay off your credit card bill. Sit down with your budget and come up with a number that would be workable for you. If you have a $200 payment you're stressing about from the time you make that payment on November 15th until the time you make your next payment on December 15th, is that car really a good choice? According to Consumer Reports, a guideline for budgeting expenses is approximately 36% of gross monthly income. What can you afford? Get comfortable with the kind of vehicle you can afford. Don't lose your perspective. When you walk on a car lot and you see all the bright, shiny cars with sunroofs and nice leather interior, it is easy to forget about your research in what you can afford and make an impulse buy. Remember why you need this car. For example, you have $5,000 to spend on a vehicle and start looking at cars in that price range. You need to consider any extra costs and figure them into your budget. Other factors to consider in purchasing a vehicle are the sales tax, registration fees, insurance costs, and annual maintenance. It is also important to note that depending on the term of your loan, your interest rates will vary on a 24, 36, 48, or 60-month term. Know your credit condition. Build a relationship with your financial institution. If they know you and see you working hard to save money, manage your money, they are more willing to work with you and look for out-of-the-box solutions. Know your own credit history. If there's something that you think the dealer will ask, that's certainly something you should be prepared to answer. Many of the promotions that you see on television are reserved just for people with excellent credit, so having a copy of your own credit report is important. There are a variety of places to obtain a copy of your credit report. Research. Before you start thinking about fun things like whether you want a convertible or a sports car, you need to do some self-examination. You need to know what your automobile needs are. Do you need to haul heavy equipment? Do you have a sizable family or head up a carpool? Do you live in an area where you need four-wheel drive? Do you travel far or use the car rarely? Do you have a towing requirement? Perhaps you need to tow a trailer or a boat. Knowing your automobile needs are the easiest way to begin eliminating some of those options. Eventually, with some additional research, you should be able to narrow the field down considerably. You should also read car reviews in magazines and online. You can learn which cars are given high marks for safety, which cars get the best gas mileage, and so on. Research. There are some things you want to learn about the car so that you can get the best deal possible when you're ready to buy. You will need to know the average price of the car so you don't overpay. You will need to get a good idea of the base price, the price of the car without any special options, by visiting different dealerships and comparing prices, and by using the internet to get price quotes. You should also get an idea of how much the dealer will add on for various options like air conditioning, a CD player, or anti-lock brakes. If you can, try to find out what the dealer price is and negotiate up from that figure. According to Consumer Reports, it's actually a lot better to do it that way as opposed to working from the sticker price down. Once you've narrowed your options down to a few possibilities, you should read as many reviews on those makes and models as you can. Some good places to look for both professional and consumer car reviews are Motor Trend Magazine, ConsumerGuide.com, Automobile Magazine, CarAndDriver.com, Edmunds.com, CarReview.com. If you plan to trade in a car you already own, you want to know the price of your trade-in. Some car dealers make big money paying you way too little for your trade-in. Do your homework and check out publications such as NADA, the official used car guide, the Kelley Blue Book, and Consumer Reports. They list the market value of your trade-in. Types of financing. Loans. There are basically two types of car loans, new car loans and used car loans. If your goal is to buy a vehicle simply for transportation, a used car loan will be a bit more cost-effective than a new car loan. This is due to the fact that used cars don't depreciate as much as a new car when driven off the lot. One type of loan is an online auto loan. You simply apply online, but different lenders will have different rates. Before you choose an online lender, you should research the company and make sure they are reputable. You may find obtaining a dealership loan is more beneficial when you pay to the dealership directly. This is a common loan for people that may have below average credit. In many cases, because of the risk of the consumer, the interest rate on these loans are usually higher than with other types of auto loans. You may be able to get a standard auto loan from a bank or a credit union if you have decent credit. Some lenders have tightened restrictions, but you should be able to find a lender that will give you a loan. It is also helpful if you are able to make a larger down payment on the vehicle. With these types of loans, the rates are generally lower than high-risk borrowers. Types of financing. Leasing. Depending on your situation, it may be best to lease a car rather than purchase one. Vehicle leasing is the use of a motor vehicle from the leasing company for a fixed period of time. It is commonly offered by dealers as an alternative to vehicle purchase, and as a method of acquiring vehicles without a substantial cash outlay as on a purchase. The key difference in leasing is that after the primary term, usually 2, 3, or 4 years, the vehicle has to be returned to the leasing company at the end of the term. Some consumers see advantages in that they can drive a newer car that is always under warranty and seldom needs more than routine maintenance. You can often get a larger, more luxurious, better equipped car. Lease payments will usually be lower than payments on a car loan, and qualification is often easier. When leasing, you do not have to worry about the future value of the vehicle, while a vehicle owner does. If you're not sure which option is best for you, there are websites such as www.edmunds.com or www.bankrate.com for you to research prior to making a decision. Whether you decide to purchase a car or lease a car, you're likely going to go with some type of financing the dealer offers you. However, if you purchase a vehicle, you may obtain financing from your own bank, credit union, or other lender. Regardless, do your research before securing financing for your new wheels.